this episode of From the Bayou to the World, it's rabbit night. Rabbit, lapin French. A fantastic meat, neutral flavor, furnishes well, relatively inexpensive. You do not want to miss this episode. It's going to be fantastic. We might have a few little black eyed peas on the side too. Oh, come on in, the coffee's on. Having rabbit tonight, baby. Welcome to From the Bayou to the World. I'm Kurt. This is my kitchen. Y'all come on in, grab a seat, make yourself at home. We're doing rabbit tonight. Rabbit, absolutely one of my favorite proteins. It is very mild in flavor, really meaty, super lean. Hardly any fat on the animal at all. And that works to our benefit, and it works against us at the same time. So we'll talk about that as we go on. We're going to do some dry black eyed peas with it. One of my absolute favorite side dishes. Super cheap, very flavorful, easy to do. Couple little tricks to keep you from burning them or overcooking them or undercooking them. We'll get you straight. But hey, we want to thank our sponsors, Gilbert's Greatest Foods, makers of Louisiana Love. If you're not cooking with Louisiana Love, you should be, because your rabbit isn't as good as it could be. So, rabbit. Normally a wild game, especially in South Louisiana, but you can't buy wild game in a grocery store because of USDA regulations, and that's the way it should be. So what you get whenever you get rabbit is tame, it's domesticated rabbit. They weigh about 3 to 4 pounds when you buy them, and that's what they call dressed, okay? So that means that they've been skinned, gutted, and they're ready to cook. There's very little fat on these animals. Matter of fact, if we can get in here, you can't see any intramuscular fat whatsoever. Nothing. There's tiny little pockets, and most of that is collagen and connective tissue. There just isn't much to speak of. But if anybody says rabbit tastes like chicken, they haven't had rabbit, because it doesn't taste like chicken. It's a mild flavor. It has a little bit of a tang to it. And this rabbit is vastly different than wild rabbit. So we're talking about wild game, and boy, that gaminess. Oh, I don't like the gaminess. And gaminess is a real thing. And what it comes from is what the animal eats and how much it exercises. So domestic animals that are raised for produce are confined, right? Not necessarily caged. Well, in rabbits' situation it is. But even if you think about chickens or cows or whatever, they're just kind of restricted in how much they move. Whereas in the wild, they move a lot. They're all over the place. They're almost constantly in motion, except when they're not sleeping. That constant exercise develops a lot of hemoglobin and puts it in the blood, and it gives it that irony, gamey flavor. And also their diet is a huge part of what makes the animal taste the way it does. It's kind of the same thing with all animals, not just terrestrial animals. If a bird is a fish eater, the meat's not going to taste that good. Whereas if a bird eats small crustaceans or plants or seeds and stuff like that, the meat's going to be very mild and taste good. So just kind of what it eats. When a domestic animal is raised for produce, it's fed a very strict diet, mostly grain, finished with corn. The corn thing is kind of waning, but it's still very prevalent. If you get a piece of pork from the store and the fat is very hard, real hard, it was finished with corn. If it's soft, it was finished with grass or a bran or some sort of pellet. So there you go. So you can tell what your animal ate. But when the animals in the wild, they eat various herbs. They root around for acorns and seeds and all kind of stuff. And whatever they eat translates into what they taste like. And most of that flavor is in the fat. Some of it's in the meat, but most of it's in the fat or in the skin. But anyway, hey, let's take a little break. When you come back, We're gonna start butcher up these rabbits. We're gonna get them prepared to start cooking. We already have our black eyed peas on because they were dried, and we'll talk about that too. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back to From the Bayou to the World. I'm Kurt. This is my kitchen. Come on in. We're talking about rabbit. We're doing rabbit in a brown gravy. And it is a quintessential Cajun dish. And I know rabbit's cooked all over the South, but nobody does it like we do it. It's just such a fantastic meat. And I know you think, I can't Bugs Bunny, I can't eat the... Yeah, you can. It's really good. So listen, let's talk about butchering, right? So we cut a rabbit into 8 pieces. And I have it cut here, but we'll do it right now in front of you. So you have the hind legs, you have the back part right here, which is also known as a saddle. So if you go to a restaurant, there's saddle of rabbit, this is what they're talking about. Then you have the front quarter, so 6, I said 8, 6 pieces. So just your handy dandy shears, you cannot beat the shears for this. Right across the back, just above, just at the base of the spine. And then you have like this, and then you just split the spine. And you have 2 legs, 2 hind legs, and then same thing. So I'm going to show you the underside. Right here at the edge of at the bottom of the rib cage. That's kind of my point. I'm going to come in here and cut the saddle off. Now, some places leave the saddle whole and cook it that way. It tends to be a bit much. So again, right down. This is where having kitchen shears is just indispensable. You could do it with a cleaver. So you have your 2 pieces of your saddle, and then the same thing for the front quarter. Right between the breast. Split the spine. Just leave the front legs intact. There you go. 6 pieces of rabbit. Real easy. So, rabbit doesn't have, excuse me while I wash my rabbit hands. Rabbit doesn't have a lot of fat, like we talked about in the first segment. So, we need to introduce some flavor somehow. And there's no better way to introduce flavor than by injecting. And that's what I have right here. So, look at that. How about that? That's some Injector Envy right there. You can find these online. They're not very expensive. They're incredibly effective. So we have, look, Louisiana Love Potion number 10, Flavor from Within. This is a dry injector marinade that you just mix with some water. You put it in some nice fresh water. You give it a little shakeroo. You let it sit for 5 minutes, and you have perfect fresh injector that hasn't been sitting on a shelf forever and a day. Put your perforated needle, draw it back, and you're ready to go. So there's a bone that runs right down the middle, just like it's a thigh bone. It's right there. You can feel it. So you just go on either side. Give it a couple little injectors, couple presses, and you can feel it under your hand. You can feel it coming out. Now turn it over and do the other side too. Like that. And then along like this. And listen, if you have a smaller injector, that's fine. Use whatever you have. Use whatever you have. And there you go. And then you just continue to do each of them. The saddle is actually very easy because this muscle is they call it the back strap. It's the tenderloin. It runs the entire length, so you could you run your needle almost to the other side and just pump it. Look at it swell up like that. So after you inject, you're going to want to let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. And the reason why is you want that pressure to dissipate throughout the meat. And there's going to be some that comes out a little bit, and that's okay. You're going to have some of that. But if you would put this into a pot now, what will happen is the meat will start to contract and it'll squeeze almost everything out. And you may say, well, Kurt, that's the same thing that's going to happen if I wait. Not really, because the seasoning will have a chance to distribute throughout the meat, and when it does contract, it's going to get trapped. So you're not going to have a ball of seasoning that gets squoze out. Squozing, that's a word for you, huh? That gets squoze out. You're going to have the seasoning is going to dissipate throughout the meat, so when the meat does contract, the seasoning, which is what I want, gets trapped. So listen, hey, I'm gonna take another little break. I'm gonna finish injecting this rabbit, then we're going to the pot. But when you come back, we're gonna talk about our black eyed peas, because they dried and you gotta treat them a certain way. See you in a couple. Welcome back to From the Bayou to the World. Let's take a look in the pot. We got some loveliness going on here. So we put our rabbit in, pre-seasoned, injected. Look at the color of this rabbit. Y'all, this is exactly what you want. Now you may think to yourself, Kurt, there's no fat on rabbit. How's it browning? Its fat doesn't brown. Proteins and sugars brown. And that's what we have here. Look at that color, y'all. This is gonna be good, I'm telling you. If you just joined us, we're cooking some rabbit and we're cooking some dried black-eyed peas. We're gonna talk about that right now. I love dried beans, love dried peas, always have, always will. So when you get them, they come in a pack that looks like this. This is my favorite brand. And they look like this, and they're very, very hard. You don't have to soak them, but it's advisable. Why is it advisable? Because when you soak them, they plump up. So this is dry. This is soaked for a little over an hour, so it doesn't take long. Now you can soak them overnight if you want, but it's not necessary. And you can see what happens is the pea starts to split, and the moisture gets inside, and it just kind of aids with the cooking process. But what it does is it makes it cook more uniformly. So it's just like anything else. So if you have a mass of something and the middle of it's dry and the outside is hydrated, you start cooking it, that outside layer is going to get real soft real quick. The middle's not going to, by the time the middle's done, the outside's overdone. I said, Kurt, it's just a pea, it's small. Yeah, it is. But this is the same thing for red beans or anything else. It translates into a better product, and it tastes better, and it's not as mealy. Now we're gonna cook these down till they're soft, and they're gonna make a nice, thick, rich gravy for us. But we want them all to taste the same and have the same texture whenever we eat it. So we soak them. Like I said, this is just a little over an hour, not an hour and a half. So between an hour and a half, we went from that to that, and it's gonna translate into a better product for our peas. Also, you're gonna see right now, we added some onions, we added some sausage. I have some of our smoked sausage that we put in there, and cut into half moons. You can cut them in quarters, you can do whatever you want. And then I put a little bit of garlic, and of course I put some Louisiana love on there. And then so once it boils, you reduce it to a simmer. And that's super important, because you don't want all the water to cook out before it has a chance to get inside and make the pea nice and soft for you. So while we're talking, I'm going to turn my back to you, but I got to give them a little stir. And boy, look, see, this is the gravy I'm talking about. You see this? You see this? This dark, rich, that's what I'm talking about. As the peas continue to cook and the starches come out of them, this is going to thicken. I'm probably going to have to add a little bit more water to this, but not yet. So I'm going to cover. And I'm going to keep it on a nice low fire. Low fire. Just barely simmering. That's very important. As they start to thicken, the starch is going to come out, and it's going to want to stick to the bottom of the pot. So this is the time when you want to stir a little bit more frequently than you have before. So you may stir it every 15 minutes or so, something like that. When it starts to get to this stage, maybe every 5 to 7 minutes. And as they start to, a little bit of sticking is fine, because that's going to create a little Maillard reaction. That's good. But they will go from stuck to burnt in no time flat. As fast as you could say, squoze. So yeah, so be careful, okay? Stay on them. Try not, you take the lid off, you lose heat. I understand that. It's kind of a balancing act. But still, I'd rather lose a little bit of moisture than have them stick and burn. And boy, because once they burn, there's no coming back. You got to start all over again. And by the way, if you do find that they stuck and it's real crusty, don't scrape no more. Stop scraping. Take whatever you can, pour it out into another container, let that and put those in another pot and continue to cook them. They won't taste burnt. If you scrape up any of that in the bottom, it's all over with. Okay. So if you see black speckles that's coming up whenever you stir, it's too far. You've gone too far. So hey, let's talk more about our rabbit. Nothing to me goes better with rabbit game than mushrooms. I love mushrooms. These are called cremini mushrooms. They're baby bellas. These will grow into big old portobello mushrooms if you let them. So the way I like to do them is versus slicing, I just quarter them because I like a nice big piece of mushroom because mushrooms take on the characteristics of meat. So look, this is a simple process. Just quarter them. When we finish browning our rabbit, we're going to start to brown our onions, and we're going to put these mushrooms in at the same time. You might have to add a little bit of oil because mushrooms are like a sponge. They are going to absolutely soak up the oil in the pot. So you may have to add a little bit, and if you do, that's okay. Just don't go crazy. You don't want to start adding by the cup. But yeah, nice little mushrooms. And look, if you don't like mushrooms, don't put any. If all you have is canned mushrooms, put canned mushrooms. But if you can put fresh, put fresh. It makes all the difference in the world. I'm hearing that pot sizzling in the background. We have that beautiful dark color, which is what we want. Yes, you can burn this. But if you control your fire, nice medium heat, and let it go like that, it'll treat you right. You'll have beautiful browning, nice rabbit. So hey, we're going to take another little break, and when you come back, we're going to talk about other ways you could cook rabbit and other wildlife, and we're going to continue on, and then might be time to take a bite or two. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Come on back from the bayou to the world. Welcome back to From the Bayou to the World. We are in Rabbit Wonderland around here. So while you were gone, we browned our rabbit in our nice pot right here, and we added onions and mushrooms. We got those nice and brown. We deglazed with some white wine, and then we added enough water to cover our rabbit pieces. Added them back in the pot along with about 4 cloves of garlic, and it's just sitting there getting lovely. It's just sitting there, just waiting for rice. That's what it's waiting for. So then, nothing goes better with rabbit in the gravy than a piece of fried rabbit. So what you're going to see is we took the tenderloin, the saddle we talked about earlier. We took it off the bone, both halves, and then we cross-hatched them. And the reason why we did that is I want to get as much crispy in there as I can, and I want very quick frying. Matter of fact, I can smell the oil in the back of me right now. It's just about ready. And this is what we ended up with, okay? So this is a piece of the loin, and then you have these little thin pieces on the side of the saddle. We're gonna call that the flank. So we did flour, seasoned flour, egg wash, seasoned egg wash, which is egg, cream, or milk, and a little bit of water to get it the right consistency. And then, of course, panko breadcrumbs. We love panko breadcrumbs because they're super duper crispy and they fry up so nice. So check our flour, check our oil if it's done. Just take a little, if it's ready. You don't have a thermometer, just take a pinch of flour. Oh yeah, you see how that's frying like that? That's perfect. So we're gonna go right to it. Bigger pieces first. Now this is called pan frying. Pan frying is when the protein isn't completely submerged in the oil. It's just kind of halfway. So this is about 1 inch of oil. And we're just kind of laying them in there. And we're going to let them cook for a little while, then we're going to flip them. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. If you've never had fried rabbit, you're missing out. It's fantastic. So because we cross-hatched the rabbit, it's not going to take long. Basically, when it's brown, it's done. Our black-eyed peas are absolutely fantastic. So Matt asked a fantastic question when we was on break. He was like, "Kurt, how do you know when the rabbit's done? The rabbit in the gravy's done." Well, when it's tender. So when do you know when it's tender? At about 210 degrees. So if you have a meat thermometer and you stick it in the thickest part of the hind leg and it registers 210, that meat's going to, right after that, that meat's going to start to fall off the bone. And you say, well, I could just wait till it falls off the bone. Yeah, you can, but then you run the risk of going too far where the meat was called striates. You cook it so much that all the connective tissue is cooked out of it and it's strained. I don't care for that very much, and a lot of people don't. It's just not good, okay? So look, you can do it the old-fashioned way. Just get in there with a fork. You can stick it and just twist a little bit. If it yields under light pressure, then you know you're there. If not, it just takes a little longer. But remember, medium fire, you want to simmer this, not boil. You want to keep as much water in there as you can. And of course, you could always use your old friend, the pressure cooker. It would be just fine. Listen, well, I think it's time to turn this over. Let's take a look. Oh, Jason Hugate, you would be so happy. For those of you who don't know, Jason Hugate is the owner and chef of the Warehouse in Washington, and he oftentimes features rabbit on his menu, fried rabbit on his menu. I don't know if it's good or not, but you know, hey, he's just been a chef for 30 years, so who knows. So listen, hey guys, last segment. When you come back, we're going to take a little taste of all our creations. We're going to finish up our rabbit in the gravy. We're going to thicken it up with a little bit of cornstarch. We're going to add some green onions to make it pretty and taste good. We have our fried rabbit sizzling back there and our beautiful black-eyed peas. You don't want to miss this. This is one of the best ones you can make. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to From the Bayou to the World. This is it. We did it. It's rabbit. Look at the beautiful gravy. We have our incredible black-eyed peas that we cooked from dried peas, little smoked sausage, onions, garlic, of course some Louisiana love. Our rabbit, we made this incredible brown gravy. We put it in the pot, let it get all lovely. We have some mushrooms, onions, garlic. And of course, we made a little piece of fried rabbit to go on top, because what meal is complete without a little fried something or other? So without further ado, I'm gonna take me just a little bite right here, and then we're gonna get to wrapping this up. But oh my, I don't know if you could smell. Look at that, how tender that is. Oh my, oh, it's so good. Do yourself a favor, try rabbit. It's fantastic. Very clean, very lean meat. Readily available, fantastic flavor. You are not going to regret it. We got to thank our sponsors, Gilbert's Greatest Foods, makers of Louisiana Love. We used a little Louisiana Love potion number 10 tonight, injected our rabbit, and it absolutely shows. That flavor is throughout the meat. And of course, we got a little fried rabbit here. That crunch. Oh, that's so good. You got to do this. Hey, thank you for joining us for this episode of From the Bayou to the World. Come on back whenever you want. The door is always open. The coffee's always on. We will see you next time.